Hi everyone, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. This week I'm joined by Keno and Luke, and we're going to do a Europa preview show. Shamrock Rovers, the only team that are involved in the Europa League, and Sligo and Pats are involved in the Europa Conference. Keno, Luke, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh, good. Look, I suppose we'll start with Shamrock Rovers first, Keno. They're in the Europa League. They're playing Shkupi. I might have said that wrong. They're from North Macedonia, so they're really far away. They're after beating Red Lincoln Imps 3-0, and they lost 2-0 on the second leg. So they got through on away goals aggregate. They got through in aggregate through the tie. The last round they went out to Dynamo Zagreb. So obviously, they're quite a high opposition, and they drew them in the first round in Croatia, in their own, in Zagreb Stadium on their own turf. And their season has not started yet. So look, Rovers have a home in the first tie, I suppose, North Macedonia, obviously they've gotten this far, they've got a bit of quality about them, but maybe should be looking at this thinking maybe we can probably give these a go.
Yeah, look, there's no reason why they can't. They're a home first. You have to, if you want to get through now, I think you have to go in ahead. You have to beat them at home, and you might need to ride your luck a little bit over there, but you have to go over there with the win, I think. Yeah, it's great that, I think it's nearly harder for Rovers to not qualify for a European competition this year than it actually is to qualify. Look, they've literally started off the Champions League and they could finish in the group stages of the conference. So, it's really good, and I think we're going to see, especially the champions every year, have a really long run in Europe. And, I think it's great that it allows it, and the Conference League definitely helps, I think, the teams that just qualify for Europe and stuff, and it gives us a better chance. So Rovers to be feeling confident going into this. Look, I don't know too much about them, to be honest with you. But the way they played last week was excellent. I think, Luke, you were on last week, and I think Rovers will win the game, but I think they'll still get knocked out. So winning the game will do them no harm. They were unlucky with the sucker punch at the end. They were pushing for the third, but I think Rovers now could go over there with a positive result. And I'm not going to say keep the tie alive, because I think they might go over there with a win in their back pocket with a bit of luck, and they can really, like I said, probably ride your luck away from home. But the home games, I think they can definitely go and win it.
Very good. Yeah, Luke, like Keno said, they're getting a positive result going into this can really set them up when they go to North Macedonia. I think for Shamrock Rovers' point of view, it's probably good that their first leg was at home. I think, in my opinion, I think they'll have a much better chance of qualifying over the two legs, so having their first leg at home and try and get some sort of a result and have something to go to North Macedonia to defend or to attack with, if that makes sense. Whether that be a draw or a win, it'll put them in the driving seat a little bit and something more to play for. I think it's very important that they had the first tie at home. I think it could make all the difference for them.
Yeah, look, they want to obviously be going over to North Macedonia with something to be playing for, you know what I mean? They want to be not just still in the tie, they want to win the game, like, you know what I mean? And like bring it over and, see what they can do then over there. Like, North Macedonia is a tough place to go to, like, it's not close, you know what I mean? Like, there's be a bit of travelling and that involved with it, but to be fair, like, it's an exciting time for them, you know what I mean? Because I've said, like, even over the last few weeks, like, they're one win away. With one win like, if they win in the Europa League, like this round, they're through to the next round, the Europa League. But then that means they're guaranteed at least Conference League group stages. You know what I mean? Which is worth noting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they are close. Like, you know what I mean? And they're in a really, really good position. So it's an exciting time for them because, as I think, in a great point, it is actually tougher to not qualify than actually qualify. Do you know what I mean? So. Tougher to qualify than not qualify. Sorry. But look, it's an exciting time for them. They'll be going over there with real confidence after that Ludogorets game. Like, they really played well. Like, and I actually wrote them off going into that one, which I look stupid now, but it was really, really good performance from them. And they probably deserve to win the game that time. Obviously the first leg sort of killed them and that, but it gives them sort of a moral victory. That they will have confidence going over now to going into the first leg against Shkupi. So a decent opposition to play against as well. So they had a good, decent first leg result against Dynamo Zagreb, who we know quite well. So an exciting time for Rovers, and they'll be going into this game with a whole lot of confidence.
Yeah, I definitely think they've got a really good chance of getting through these two ties. I think something else that's worth noting too is obviously Shamrock Rovers are more than halfway through our season, and like these are only starting their season. I think in terms of player chemistry, knowing how they play with each other, players being around the team, fitness, match preparation, I think Rovers might have the edge of them over that as well, which I think could be a bit crucial as well, because they're not just going through a pre-season straight into competitive games. Rovers have obviously been playing last few months, so I think they'll be a lot fitter than these, and I think it's going to work out in their favour. I think they've got a lot of things going for them into this time, so best of luck to Shkupi, and I hope they get through. Hope they get through the tie. But look, all jokes aside, I think Rovers got a very, very good chance, and like you said, worst case scenario, they have a very high chance of qualifying for the Conference League, which would be excellent for the league in general. It'd be excellent for the fans around the league if one of our teams got into it. So hopefully, it'd be good for them. Suppose moving on to St. Pat's then, Kino. You're away to Bulgaria. Kino's flying out at stupid o'clock in the morning. Absolutely fair play to you, and fair play to all the fans that are going out. It's not easy, so fair play to you, sport, getting behind your clubs and going out there. It's brilliant going away in these away days is really, really good. So last year, CSKA Sofia finished second in their league. They finished just behind Ludogorets. Obviously, we just spoke about Ludogorets knocking out Shamrock Rovers. So the thing is, we have a bit of an insight of how they play. We've seen them. We'd have a bit more knowledge about them than if there's just another team plucked out of the air that we had to know. Obviously, Ludogorets are kind of known already enough by us throughout world football. Everybody knows the name. They know certain things about them. So they're not complete utter strangers. There's 4 games gone in their league, and they are joint top of the league with Ludogorets. They won the last 2 games, winning 5-1 and 4-0, Kino, which is obviously quite a high scoring. Striker Gargues, he's a Brazilian striker. He's got 5 goals in 3 games. So it doesn't sound easy for you.
No, I watched the game yesterday. 5-1, comfortable, to be honest with you. They're very physical. They're going to be in your face. They press high. So, we are going to be in for a long night. There's no doubt about it. Especially coming off the back of yesterday's loss in the cup, which is, it's just a killer, to be honest with you.
Good luck with that.
After, go on. But no, it is a killer, and I think it does put a dampener going over here, because look, we should have won that yesterday, whether we played in Europe or not, and I think that's the frustrating part. So look, we'll give it a right bash. Obviously they're a massive side. The playoff draw is just come out there, so I'm just looking at it as I got a message here as we're just on. So we'll play the winner of Brøndby or Basel, then an Icelandic team from Brendablik. I don't know if I said that right, but we'll give it a bash. And a Turkish team, Basak.
I know them. Basak here, yeah.
That's the one, Basak here, yeah. We'll play, or the winner of Apoel, or not a chance by pronouncing that. Looks like Kazakhstan. Koizalhar SK, and then the small matter of Fiorentina. So we'll be playing one of them teams.
Minnows. All minnows.
If we did get through. So, it is a big ask to get through the toy, but look, obviously, look, Sunday or yesterday aside, in fairness, we are in half decent form. The bit of confidence in Europe, especially winning on penalties. It's the worst way to lose, as Daz, you'd probably know from last year. And it's the best way to win, to be honest with you. So it's fine margins. And one thing that struck me over there with Pats was, we played well against them. We held our own. Look, we had to ride our luck, like I said, not normal. People are going to ride your luck in Europe. So, it was their night, and we got through, which will give them a lot of confidence. We're going into this now in a bit of a free hit type of game. I don't think anyone expects us to get through the tie. It'd be nice to keep the tie alive and get into the next round. I'm not talking about getting into the next round. Hold on that. I say it'd be nice to keep the tie alive and take it back to Tala. And a big crowd. You just never know if you get out there with a 1-0 or a 2-0. But knowing the group that we have and knowing the squad that we have, we'd be going there looking for a positive result. And there will be a lot of belief. They are tough, like I said. They are physical. They will press us high. I don't think we're going to have an awful lot of time on the ball. So it's what we do without the ball. And if you can add a little bit of quality up the top end of the pitch, which I think we have, we might just keep the tie alive. But I'm looking forward to it. It's a good complaint. You're going to play these games. You're obviously doing something right as a club and as a team. So, it'd be nice to give it a good bash and see where the levels are at. I'm looking forward to. I need to bring me binoculars. If anyone's seeing the away end there, yeah, played miles away. I don't know. Keith does all these jokes, so Keith might put a picture of the away end up here.
And people, his binoculars.
Yeah, Keith will probably put a picture up now so people can have a look. But yeah, it's I think I'll be watching it on LOI TV from the away end. But, but I'm looking forward to it. It's a bit of crack, and I have to say, look, there's nothing better than going to Europe, supporting your team, and just having a laugh, meeting people, and it's really good. But for me, being honest with you, like we're not going to go much further in Europe, but you might, if we're lucky, we get through the next round. I think that'll probably be it. But we need to focus on getting ourselves there next year. That's something that Bow struggled with last year, and they had such a great run in Europe, and they missed out on Europe, and it's tough, and now all of a sudden Bows aren't in Europe, and it's very, once you're out of that bracket, it's very hard to get back in it. So Pats will need to do everything they can now from now to the end of the season to get themselves back into Europe, and I think that's the prime focus. Look, the Shells game on the Sunday, a bit of a disaster, if I'm being honest with you, especially the importance of the game, and considering the Rovers games are off and stuff. Look, I'm not making excuses. I'm not saying we're beaten, but if that's the case, that's the case. I think maybe another saving grace for us will probably be the Sligo game. Sligo getting knocked out of the cup yesterday, which probably means we can play Sligo in the league on cup weekend. So that game mightn't have to go ahead next Sunday, because I don't think Pats or Sligo will want that game to go ahead after Europe. So look, there's a lot of games, but I think one eye has to be on the league here. We need to look after the bread and butter and get ourselves in there next year. But look, Guava, we'll give it a bash. We'll have a good time, and anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with all your points, and I'm sure Luke would as well. It would be great if Pats could do something in this game. It's arguably the harder of the two ties. Obviously, Sligo played Viking, which we'll go on to in a few minutes, but I think the Sofia team, they just look like they're looking really, really strong. Just everything Keno said about them, the amount of goals that they've scored, like where they're at the minute, like the strikers are currently in form. They're a very confident team. But then when you take Motherwell, who probably would have looked down on Sligo and classed them as a minnow. We all seen the newspapers, and Sligo treated the game like any other game, went there, got results, and got through the tie. So it can be done. I would not be at all. I'm sure Keno is not saying this here that Pats are down or out, or most certainly not. And the pressure is all on Sofia. Like, they are 100% expected to go through, expected to win. And Luke, they're expected to score goals. Like in the last two ties, they had a 0-0 draw, but then they had a 4-0 win. So they've been scoring quite a lot of goals. It's a team that clearly plays attacking football, and they clearly takes their chances when they're given, and they're clinical. And that's not really what you want to be hearing going and playing these. If it was me, I'd be trying to go with a draw. I'd be going with Sofia. I'd be parking the bus. I'd be trying to catch them with a free kick, counter attack, a corner. But I wouldn't be attacking them as much. I'd be sitting back and seeing what they're going to actually do and how they're going to play, because they're going to want to go and win, and it's going to be very difficult. And just with the fixture list the way it all is with Pats at the minute, I think it'd be a great result if they could get a 0-0 or 1-1 and take it back to Tala and see kind of what they can do back here. Again, like Shamrock Rovers, they're in the driver's seat for their one. They play at home, so I think for Pats, they're at a slight disadvantage playing away. The travel that's involved, in logistics, blah blah blah, all of that, it does come into play, and it's going to be hard for them. But just going back to the goals, they scored so many goals. Like, how do you see this one fair now? Obviously, Keno said his piece on it. What do you think of it?
It's going to be a tough one. It is going to be a tough one. There's no denying that the CSKA, Sofia are a good team. And they're quite a decently known like name as well. You know, that type of way. So like they do have quality, as we've seen. Like you've mentioned the scores and that. The last few games, the players they have, like you've mentioned the goals that their striker has scored, which is really good. Like, and look, they've only started their season and that. Pat's obviously been in the season now, a good few months now. So, can you play that into factor? Like, I know you can mention about Shamrock Rovers and that, like, the Shkupi haven't started their season yet. So could you play that into factor? Could, fitness and that of Shamrock Rovers get them? Could the fitness of St. Pat's and that, you know what I mean? There's a lot of games Pats have played in the last few weeks between Europe and the Cup, the league. You know what I mean? There has been a lot of games, like, and I know Keano's mentioned there about that Shells game, and it probably doesn't come at a right time, because Shells will be going into that one, and they'll have had a week of training, and they'll be well up for it. You know what I mean? And there'll be a good crowd of talk and all, and it's not sounding great for Pats for that game. But look, they're going to be going to this one. They won't be really looking at Shells. They'll be going into the Sofia, and they'll be just thinking, let's just stay in this tie. You know what I mean? Let's bring it back to Tala, and see if we can get a result. And you just never know, really. Like you can't really write off the Irish teams and in Europe at the minute. You know what I mean? The likes of Rovers and Pats, and like I think the Pats game against Mura has actually been overshadowed by the Motherwell one. With Sligo, I think Mura are just as good as Motherwell, if not better. You know what I mean? Mura are a good team, like, and Pats got through them, and could have easily won it in normal time. You know what I mean? Carter had a few good chances. Pats had a few decent chances in that one. You know what I mean? So, Pats will be happy with where they are. Look, obviously yesterday it's just a blip in the road. Like, they won't be happy with that. Obviously,
go out. And the distraction of Europe, like knowing that they're going to Bulgaria, like a really big game, and who they're playing, and like just the size of the stadium, the amount of fans it's going to be. You're not going to want to get injured. You're not going to. It's all going to be going to players' heads, whether you like to hear it or not, whether fans like to hear it. Yeah. You're going to be thinking, I don't want to be out for this. I want to be in contention for this game. So.
As well, like these are the sort of games that you have to be up for. You know what I mean? Like, as a footballer, if you want to be a footballer at the highest level, you're playing in Europe. You're in the later stages of a European qualifying round. You're going to these big stadiums. You're playing against these big teams. Of course, that you should be up for that. You know what I mean? You shouldn't need any G'ing up by anyone. You know what I mean? That should just, excite you as a player. Like, you know what I mean? Straight away, like when you hear these fixtures and that. So, I don't think there's going to be a question of if Pats will they be up for it. Like, you can talk about yesterday, Pats weren't up for it, you know what I mean? And obviously that they're knocked out of the cup and that now, but this is a big game for them. They'll be going over there. It's a tough ask to get even a draw, you know what I mean? Or even a 1-0, as you mentioned, Keano. So look, if you can still be in the tie going to Tala, then you just never know. Then it's football.
That's it. And look, I think as well the ground helps. Like I said, we're miles away from the pitch, so. But, I think everyone is, I think the away fans are behind the goal. I think there's more of a distance behind the goal than there is around the sides. But there is a track around it. You're not close to the pitch. And I think, look, they've only had a handful of fans at all the games, to be honest. I don't know what's going on. Something's going on with the fans or something like that. They're boycotting. So, the ground is like, I think there was only 5,000-6,000 at the last game. And
what does the stadium hold?
I don't know, but it's decent. Like it probably have 25, 30, 35. But look, it could be more, but that'll definitely help Pats because, and as well, like I says, they're not close to the pitch. They're not right on top of each other. So the fans they can't really make it as hostile as, let's say, it probably would be 3 or 4, 5 years ago, or even 10 years ago. So that will play into effect, and like I says, we're out of the cup. It's probably a last bit of crack probably forgot to have for a while. So we'll give it a bash, and let's see what happens. But look, we'll enjoy it, and it'll be a learning curve. And this is the games you want to play. This is where you want to test yourself.
Yeah, this is where you want to be. Like, this is what you want to prepare for every season. You want to be going abroad. You want to be playing against these big players. You want to be going to these mad leagues, playing these different teams, and it's great.
Look, you wouldn't want to be going to friendlies or that next year. You want to be in your.
Don't worry. I'm looking for the return leg of Berlin back to Bohos. Looking forward to that now. Looking at the final game, then Keano, we're looking at Viking against Sligo. Sligo are away to Viking as well. All these games are on Thursday. Viking came 5th in the Norwegian League there, obviously from the Norway League. 17 games gone in their league this season. So quite similar to our league at the minute in regards to start teams, that they would be 5th in the league. They'd be obviously up and going. Their systems would be all there. The players would be used to playing with each other by now. Interesting result for them in the previous rounds. They knocked out Sparta Prague, which were obviously a team that's quite well known, and probably a bit of a shock. People probably weren't expecting that. So, you know, when you're kind of looking at Sofia against Pass a minute ago, you're thinking Vikings probably the easier ones. But when you hear that they got through, you know, a team such as Sparta Prague, you're thinking, these aren't going to be easy. Again, you know, the fact that they're away from home plays is questions again. They're traveling out to Norway, but I think, you know, look, a same kind of story with Pass, keep the tie alive, have something to play for, try and nick the win or keep the 0-0. Just have something to play for.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do. I think so. Look, it's the easier of the two toys. There's not, or probably the three toys. There's no doubt about it. Look, it's positive, and it's great that they have it in the showgrounds. It's great that, you know, the work that they've done, whatever they've done to make sure that it was there, they've done it. And it's great that we've seen that they haven't just accepted it. Look, I'm not saying Pats have just accepted that we're going to tell it. There's no way we'd get that game played in Richmond. There's no chance. But it's great to see what Sligo have done. And, you know, I really do. I think it'd be fantastic for them. Keep the toy alive. You know, these teams, even CSKA and even this team, Sparta Prague, that they beat, they wouldn't be as good as, let's say, they were, you know, a couple of years ago. Look, they'd be a big, massive name. They've always been in and around Champions League group stages and stuff like that. We all know that, and that's where it comes from. But, you know, that, yeah, you have to think back, and Ballatown should be here now, not Sligo. It's mad to think, like. So, you know, you can always win a toy, for example. And, you know, Motherwell probably would have handily be Ballatown. And then all of a sudden, it's Motherwell playing this toy, and Sligo would be gone in the first round. So I wouldn't really look into who they beat and stuff like that as much. But, you know, I'll be honest, it looks positive. Look, they'd be disappointed yesterday, similar to Pats, you know, out of the cup, a bit of a shocker of a goal. They'd be disappointed with that. Now, look, Pats went out better. I'm not saying that, but, you know, they'd be really bitterly disappointed with how yesterday went, especially being home to Wexford. So they're probably out of everyone. I think they're probably the least favourites to get to Europe.
Yeah.
So I think Sligo will go and give it a right crack, you know. And I'm just getting up here now, just seeing who they got if they do get through. Give me 2 seconds. Because it came out for everyone, so I presume Sligo's is out now.
Interesting to see who they potentially might get. And obviously, you know,
so
looking at this going into it.
They can play Neftchi or Rapid Vienna. Vienna's a great city, by the way. Spent a bit of time there last week. They could play Villarreal, Junaka Strida or Football Club FCSB, Maccabi Tel Aviv or Aris Thessaloniki. So, you know, we've obviously heard a few of them, and Dundalk could beat Maccabi and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
you know, I think Sligo now, look, they'll obviously, I'm not saying they'll roll over in the league, but I think Sligo can focus on this. I think they're probably out of anyone fighting for Europe, fighting for that fourth spot. I think it's Sligo, and they could really, you know, they could really push now in this European tour and give it a good bash. But look, I think they'll keep the tie alive. I think they'll get a positive result in the first game. A positive result, whether it be a draw or a win or whatever it is. I can't see them losing the first leg. So, you know, I'll back Sligo. They had a massive win against Motherwell, really big, and look, a cracker of a goal that, you know, he'll remember for a long, long time. And I think he'll be played in and around the showgrounds. And I said the same thing to Luke, like last week. These games capture your imagination as a young kid.
Yeah.
You know, you love that kid in a Sligo Rovers top. I'll always remember that time he was standing behind the goal and he smashed it into the top corner. And you know, you'll always remember them goals. So, you know, it's great. And it's great to see the showgrounds popping again. And, you know, I do. They'd be disappointed because they probably would have fancied a decent run in the cup. and they could focus on Europe and the cup more so than the league. But look, it wasn't to be. I'm gonna say a positive result for Sligo, and it'll set them up nicely for the second leg.
Yeah, I like it, Keno. Good thinking. Obviously, Luke, Sligo did very, very well getting through Motherwell. Really put the game to them. Obviously, got through the tie. No one really expected them to do as well as they did. But like what Keno mentioned, interesting point that you wouldn't really look at who to bet like you thought, but the tie and how he'd show up on the day and all that, which I do agree with as well. It is about that as well. But disappointed to go out of the cup, but I'm sure they're going to park that and leave it now and try and focus on Europe. And look, I think they're going to be confident going into this. I think that they're going to go in fighting, and I really would I actually would fancy Sligo to come away with a 0-0 as well and bring it back to the showgrounds and make a really intimidating atmosphere for Viking as well, and really give them a hard game in Sligo. And I'd be sure that probably would be the kind of game plan to kind of do that, to try and keep the tie alive and just bring it back to Sligo. Like, what better way to go out and draw 0-0 and win it back in your own home style then? Like, that's brilliant. Like, and through to the next round, and like I would be confident that they will get a positive result here as well.
Yeah. It's definitely like it's doable, like for them. You know what I mean? I think it's probably the most favourable draw out of the other clubs in Europe, like in the League of Ireland. Like, it's probably the most favourable one that you probably could have got. So look, they'll be pleased with the draw they have. But as well, like, I don't really think you can write off Sligo in Europe anyways for definite. Like, seeing what they've done to Motherwell over 2 legs, like, and I don't really think we expected them to do them over 2 legs the way they did, like, and they did comfortably. Like, I watched the Sligo again, and Motherwell didn't really lay a glove on them, like, and I think that's a testament to the way Sligo played in over the 2 legs. So I think I mentioned it on the FAI Cup preview review show there today. Like, it's the whole thing about Sligo going out against Wexford is just like, I think that really sums up Sligo. Like, I think that
Wexford.
Well, look, obviously, I'm not taking it away from Wexford. I'm just saying that, like, I think the less distractions for Sligo, the better.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Because they just can't seem to deal with distractions, and I don't know what that's all about. Like, it's like obviously you've seen what they done the first leg against Motherwell, they win, then they go and lose to Sligo, and I mean the UCD, sorry, and then second leg against Motherwell, a few days later they play against
Wexford, the poor oppositions they were playing against that probably should still be beaten, and they couldn't get through them ties with them.
Yeah,
but still bet Motherwell.
Yeah, I know, and look, so it's disappointing for them, but look, they'll try and park that. They'll try and move on from it, and they've got a big game now Thursday to see if they can do anything else in Europe. You know what I mean? And really, really push Viking and really give them a good game and see what they can do. Like, and I'm excited for them. You know what I mean? Like, they're in a good position. They've done really well to get this far. They came through two really tough ties. Obviously Bala, you know what I mean, will probably feel a bit unfortunate that they didn't beat Sligo in the second leg. Don't know how they didn't, but look, they got through what Sligo did, and that just shows to them, like, a testament to them. And so fair play to them, and they're into the next. They're in now against Viking now this week, and it's an exciting time for them. And they get to play it in the showgrounds. That they're one of their legs, anyways, in the showgrounds, which is really good. They don't have to travel too far to the likes of wherever the talk of them were playing it. Where would they play it actually if they? Hala, would it? Yeah. So look, they're obviously they don't have to travel too far anyways, which is really good. From Sligo to Tala Avenues, I know they've got to take that trip to Norway. Viking are from.
Yes, Norway. Yeah.
Oh yeah, look, tough tie, but you would fancy Sligo, and I fancy them to get a positive result in this game and see what they can do. But exciting times for them, and obviously wish them all the very best.
Very good. Safe travels to anyone who's travelling out to watch their team play. I hope your team does you proud and you come away with a result. And best luck to all teams, all our Irish teams in it. It's really, really good, and hopefully you get the result that you want and bring it back to the home grounds and do the business. Safe travels to you, Keno. Hopefully the lead there.
Thanks, lad.
Please like the video and subscribe if you're new. And comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know how you think your team's going to do. Thanks, everyone.